Live from New York City, it's the Gary Null Show. And now, your host, Gary Null.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Null. Another program about how to live a longer and healthier life, prevent illness, and be happy in the process. What is one of the biggest complaints of people over the age of 40? Loss of muscle mass, loss of strength, endurance, stamina, unless you're really training every day. Really training means about 3 miles to 4 miles of road work. You don't need to do more than that unless you're competing. Because at 3 to 4 miles, you're strengthening your muscles. You're creating the important relationship between putting new muscle down where old muscle is being used and goes through senescence and dies. You're also increasing your lung capacity, lowering your blood pressure, lowering your heart pulse rate, which is very important because many of us, myself included, believe that each part of our body has a biological clock, like the heart. And this is based upon something called telomeres, which are the proteins, the end caps of your chromosomes. As they shorten, the life of that particular group of cells shorten. And almost everything that the average person does, how they deal with stress, shortens it. Alcohol in any amount shortens it. Sedentary life shortens it. Being around electromagnetic appliances, cell phones, laptops, computers, television, shortens. Living in a building with a 5G tower really shortens it. And so you see, we're surrounded by something we can't see or feel or touch, electromagnetic energy. I mentioned this at one time. There was a very good special by a British television show. I think it was on Channel 4. And they took meters into a school, just a normal public school. And they had all these computers on the desks. And they had the measurement based upon how far away, about maybe a foot to 18 inches, that a student would be from their computer. And they began to read on the safety of a little measurement that would tell them, are you safe or not? They had to go out of the school, across the street, into a field before it was actually reading safe. That's how much of electromagnetic pulse every second that they were sitting in that school. Now, every classroom had this. So you're getting a huge amount of electromagnetic pulses hitting the body. A very respected investigative journalist who I know very well went into a very bad place as far as this person's health. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong, nor could any of the doctors, hospitals. But they were grossly fatigued. They had brain fog. They had immune compromised health, meaning they were sick from almost anything. And I said, what's different? Nothing's different. Same diet, same everything. Well, something's had to change. Turns out, oh yeah, they installed one of those smart meters in my apartment building. Okay, where is your apartment? Well, it's right up against the same wall. So a smart meter, which is very powerful, is right near where and it goes right through the wall. Yeah. So I recommended a person who came out who measures electromagnetic pulses. And lo and behold, it was 6,000 times the level that is considered safe. And that's normal for all these smart meters, smart homes, smart cities. Refrigerator, and suddenly your refrigerator's talking back to you. That's because of this 5G. Everything's 5G. And it's extremely dangerous. Go to GaryNull.com, go to articles, and download the 15 articles I've written about the dangers of 5G. And you won't see any of this in the media. And that's because the media supports it. Look at all the advertising you see for 5G. You don't see as much of it now because people have accepted it. Okay. In any case, it's one of the things that happens that can throw a person's health out of balance. Well, once you hit the age of 40, you've done enough things in your life that have thrown your health out of balance. And one of them is not exercising all your muscles, doing the sit-ups and pull-ups and intensity, exercising. When you're doing a power walk suddenly for 2 minutes, go as fast as you can. When you're in a gym and you're curling, curl as fast as you can. Those intensity exercises for 1 to 2 minutes really help you. And that lays down human growth hormone. And that human growth hormone helps you keep your muscle mass. So what else does? Guess what? Vitamin D3. According to the Federal University of Carlos in Brazil and University College London, they show that a deficiency of vitamin D could increase older people's risk of losing muscle strength by as much as 78%. Now, here's where one of these collective, let's say, mass beliefs, which is entirely wrong, affects whole generations of people. I believed it. I grew up in a home where when we went on Sundays to my great uncle's house, he wasn't supposed to be very active because he was about 68 years old. And once you're 60, you're supposed to slow down, spend time reading, sitting, and spend longer in bed. Don't physically exert yourself. Well, that led to osteoporosis, loss of muscle mass, loss of strength, loss of endurance. So then when a person started to do something, they were tired. So then they would take coffee 5-10 times a day to get their blood sugar up. And that was unfortunate. So it's just the opposite. The older you get, the more vigorous you should be. You just don't start off training for a marathon. You take everything gradually, but in your gradual assessment, you keep a diary. And you say, okay, today is Monday or Tuesday, and the date. All right, what was my weight getting up in the morning? How do I feel? Well, I was this, that, or the other, stiff, maybe had some pain. Did I stretch? For how long? Did I do some yoga stretching? And then did I have adequate hydration, water, maybe with a lemon in it? Squeeze one lemon into the water. That helps. Very important to have a glass of water in the morning. And then did I take some supplements like coenzyme Q10 and magnesium and calcium, vitamin E and L-carnitine, vitamin C and quercetin before I went out to do my work? Did I take a cayenne capsule, 1 capsule, so that it can help thin my blood, keep my platelets from aggregating? Simple things, takes a few minutes. But once we all realize that we need to exercise every day, and ideally twice a day for about 40 minutes, then suddenly everything changes. Our digestion improves, our blood sugar doesn't spike up, so you have your breakfast and go out for a power walk, and suddenly the energy you're using with your muscles moving in power walking burns up the sugar that's in this breakfast you just ate. Therefore, your glucose level stays more normal. Where if you don't exercise and you eat and then go and sit at an office, your blood sugar spikes up. Something we could prevent, diabetes. That's a big deal. If you don't think it's a big deal, ask someone what is the quality of their life when they are diagnosed with diabetes. Ask them about neuropathy, and ask them about their vision and their balance and their insomnia and their weight gain and all their different pains, neuropathic pains, neuropathies. So yeah, it's a big deal. And if we could do so little and make it work, yeah. So now we have to start questioning all of our mass belief systems. And if we do, then we're able to think independently. Then we're able to do something that's in our own best interest instead of watching the mob go forth right off a cliff, which it normally does. So in this research, the Federal University and the University College London have now shown that vitamin D, easy to get if you're in the sun for an hour a day, easy to get if you take supplements, fish oil, or non-fish support vitamin D, just take a supplement. It reduces the risk in older people by 78% of losing your muscle Because remember, you want to put on muscle as you age, not lose it. You want to be more active, not more sedentary. You don't want it to take it easy. Remember that? Take it easy. You're over 40. And so what are you doing? I even remember, this is a true story. I remember when I was 17 years old, and I was going to go to visit some friends who've all thinged that they lived right off a bridge. Literally, I would run up the Belpre Bridge and went over the high river between Parkersburg and Belpre, and I would cross the street and go into the porch. Now, they had a way of getting there from the back without the bridge, but it wasn't illegal. How dangerous is that? And I was jogging there. I put on, I'd come from playing basketball, and a cop stopped me. He said, "What are you doing? What are you running from?" I said, "I'm just jogging." He didn't know what jogging was. That's, mind you, this is on our lifetimes. Nobody went out for a jog. You were a health nut if you did. Nobody ate a lot of fiber. You were a health nut if you did. Nobody did meditation or yoga. Nobody did deep breathing. You were a nut job if you did. You were a health nut. All right? So having a big pot belly, eating a huge amount of food, having to unbutton your button up by your neck and unbutton. Remember that? I remember almost every meal. My dad would unbuckle, his belt because, he had to get more food in. Can't leave anything on the plate. People are starving in China. Are you going to send what we don't eat to China? How are you going to get it there? Who are you going to give it to? Do they have a name? Of course, by that time, I was about ready to be smacked, so I shut up. My parents would tolerate me to a degree. I was the odd one out. Gary's like a rabbit. He eats green stuff, green foods. Yeah, so I was the joke. It was okay because we all laughed at each other, and I'm glad we did. Nobody got hypersensitive about anything. There were no trigger words. In any case, after everyone ate, they would go over and lay on the couch. My younger brother lay on a couch, and I actually one day, true story, I stood back and I looked, and the couch had a permanent indentation where my dad's body would lay like he was comatose. And it was interesting because even my mom, she'd go up and lay on the bed. And I'm a kid, right? And I walk up the steps, I look at her, and I can't see she's breathing. So I go over to her, and I'm really, I'm anxious, and I'm looking, and I shake her. I said, "Mom, Mom." Then she opens her eyes. And I'm thinking, whoa, all that eating, your body can't handle it. We're eating too much food. Now, if we're eating healthy food, like a big salad, all right, huge salad, seaweed salad with some wonderful hummus in it from garbanzo beans, chickpeas, get your protein and fiber and minerals and vitamins, your fruit, your vegetables in there, and then end the end of the meal with a papaya or pineapple for the enzymes. Great. But then go out for a walk. And if you want to see this really work, have your breakfast before you do your exercise. If you're not going to do an intense exercise, and then go out for a power walk or a power bike ride and watch how much better you feel, how much more energy you have, how much more even your blood sugar is. Your blood pressure will come down. Simple. Make sure you're getting your vitamin D so you also have your muscles. And even when you're walking, start with 1 pound little dumbbells in each hand. And as you walk, then lift, walk with your arms swing back at right angles back behind you with the dumbbell. And then after you feel that's too easy, and you can do that easily for a couple miles, then after a month, increase it to 3 pounds, 5 pounds. See how high you can go. But what's happening is your whole upper back, your neck, your shoulders, your tricep, bicep, deltoids, pecs, all of these muscles in this area, they're all going to get really strong and really tight. Now, you're not going to look like a bodybuilder. That's not the purpose of it. But you're going to have muscle strength where you didn't. And that's important. Strength, endurance, and stamina. From Monash University in Australia, comes a study about PQQ and coenzyme Q10. What they found when they're taken together, I would suggest 20 milligrams PQQ and 100 milligrams coenzyme Q10, it reverses mitochondrial dysfunction plus chronic disease symptoms. This is a big deal. Now, for those of you who are in the anti-aging study, and we have a lot, we just finished our 5th study, and the most important of all, because we were taking 2 different blood groups. We took our blood and sent it out to a lab, and the blood was going to measure objective blood criteria in the body, like homocysteine levels and C-reactive protein, the things you do not want elevated, because if they're elevated, you could die quickly of a heart attack or stroke with no symptoms. You want those low. Taking your blood lets you know that. Your blood pressure, your blood sugar. But about 60 different things were measured. And we didn't create that. That was created by Dr. Katz and Dr. Richard Goldman. They created this, and they are some of the top anti-aging scientists in the world. In fact, they're president of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. So to meet their criteria, to be official overseers of the study, we had to follow their guidelines. We did it. But then we did something we've never been able to do before because we never had access, and that is a methylation DNA test. And that's separate. It's a little circular cap that you put on your arm that has a needle in it, and you push it in, and then it, over a period of about a half hour, blood goes into a little container, and then you send that in, and we FedEx that in to them. And this was for a major American university and a foundation that does anti-aging research. So now we had 2 ways of telling our total physiological health, our immune health, our hormonal health, and the actual age of our DNA. So for the first time, we could say, well, I'm 43 or 75 chronologically, but my biological age, which determines how long I'm going to live and how healthy I'm going to be, it's only 40. So the results are being tabulated. We had to have outside independent, I don't touch any of this stuff. They have to do it so there's no bias. And I'm supposed to get these results back in the next 2 weeks. The final analysis was done yesterday. So all this now is finished. And after the person finished it, then I got to see the results. The results are phenomenal. When I say phenomenal, I mean we've never seen results like this ever, nor has anyone else in the anti-aging community, because we're in contact with all the different foundations and scientists and groups out there. So next up, we get the final blood works in with our analysis, independent from a major university, and then we'll submit it for peer-reviewed publication, and then I will share it with you. But I will tell you this, both coenzyme Q10 and PQQ are part of that formula, and we had to have a separate physician with a major anti-aging foundation say, here's the supplements they must take. I didn't choose those supplements. I would have chosen differently. Next time, I get to choose all this stuff because we've proven with 5 studies it works. In any case, for your interest right now, we all know that chronic degenerative diseases like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, and stroke are leading cause of death and disability throughout the world. For example, in the United States, almost half, I repeat, 50% of adults suffer from one form or another of chronic disease, and a quarter of all adults suffer from 2 or more. Yet we never hear anything in Western medicine about how what we're doing every day, the liquids we drink, the food we eat, what we do with our body are contributing to these diseases, especially mitochondrial dysfunction. And the mitochondria are your energy factories of the cell. When you don't have good mitochondria, or they're dead, and you can't produce ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and that's the match that lights the tinder that allows the energy, the fire in the cell that allows you to be able to move and think, work and your organs to function. And that's why coenzyme Q10 is so important, because it creates energy in the heart muscle. Therefore, by taking coenzyme Q10 twice a day, in the morning and the afternoon, you're protecting your heart throughout the whole 24 hours because you're giving it energy, but you're also giving your brain that same energy. It's terrific. In fact, research has clearly shown that mitochondrial dysfunction, a product of our lifestyle, and we yet say it's the way we age, all right? No, it's not. Normal aging has nothing to do with the diseases of aging that are superimposed because of our overexposure to toxins inside and outside the womb and everything that we take in. So all the things we thought were good to eat because everyone else was eating them, and how we live and how fast we eat, whether we chew properly, whether we drink liquids cold or hot with meals, whether we're properly hydrated, all these thousands of different elements that contribute to our aging. The average person doesn't age normally. They prematurely age with illnesses that are not normal to the aging process. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ALS, multiple sclerosis are not normal to the aging process, nor is being weak and infirm. Let me show you how people doing the right things age differently. 3 weeks ago Sunday, in the Florida State Track and Field Championships, there was a gentleman there who I've seen as long as I've been racing in Florida. Since 1970, I was a part of the running community in New York City. And I ran races, didn't race walk, didn't know how to race walk, wasn't interested in it. I probably ran, I'm guessing, around 200 races. And some I medaled in. I was a good runner, fast. And then in 1985, I began to do race walking because I was just bored of running. I just the gun went off and I'm running around there and I'm thinking, I'm bored with this. It's not exciting anymore. And I saw some race walkers ahead of us. And I thought, that looks interesting. So I jumped into race walking the next week. I would still do some running, racing, but it was race walking that I enjoyed. And I was a part of the Metropolitan Athletic Group that's up in New York City that represents all the athleticism in the whole area. And it's a good group. And I'm glad that I was a part of it. In any case, you didn't see older people. Why? Because they didn't have age group. After all, and I said this to Fred LeBeau, who I used to have on my radio show on WMCA. I said, Fred, how legitimate is it to have an 18-year-old fast runner compete against a 40-year-old who was at one time fast, but now he's 40 years old, or 6-year-old? Why do you think you don't see the old people in any of your races? You only see young people because you only have one age group. Whoever wins, wins. That's not fair. Even with golf at that time, they were having the seniors, those who could no longer compete with the younger people, but were still good. And we had that in many different other sports. In any case, it took years, and we have Peter Roth to thank for his efforts because he was the treasurer of the New York Run Running Club, and he was the one who motivated Fred LeBeau to finally say, okay, we're going to do age groups. But then he did it wrong. He only had up to 39 and then 40 and over. I said, no, do 5-year increments. And it took a long time, it took about 20 years of lobbying. We finally got it, all right? So now you can continue to race your entire life because you're only competing with people within a 5-year age group, like 50 to 54, then 55 to 50, 55 to 60 is a different group. So in any case, here's a gentleman who I've known this whole time because I began racing here unofficially in 1996 in Florida. I was still officially racing in New York. And I wouldn't get an award because I wasn't a part of their association. And I didn't care about the awards. I just loved racing. But there was one guy who was always different, tall, thin. And we would speak. And he says, you know, Gary, I read your books. I'm into veganism. My wife and I, we really, take the right supplements. Well, that same gentleman is now 90, 9-0. He was in that championship and he took a gold medal and he beat people who are in their 70s. And he feels like $1 million. He looks terrific. All right. And so that's just one of the signs that if you do something for a long period that is right for you, you're not 90. You're 90 chronologically, but biologically. And I'm going to tell him that I will get him that test if he wants. I'll pay for it for him as a gift. I think he'll be coming in around 60 years of age. Yet he's 90, 30 years younger. That means he's got a long life ahead of him with vital health, no diseases. He and his wife looks phenomenal. They have no illnesses at all. All right. And yet he says he doesn't have any 90-year-old friends. They're all dead. So we almost never hear Western medicine talk about how the lifestyle that we encourage people and profit from creates their poor health and mitochondrial dysfunction. In fact, research has clearly shown that mitochondrial dysfunction is a product of all the bad things we do. But the good news is this, and I always like to share positive solutions to every problem. Just 2 nutrients, coenzyme Q10 and PQQ, can effectively combat these health problems by protecting and even regenerating, I repeat, regenerating the body's store of indispensable mitochondria. So you can boost your mitochondria, rigorous physical exercise, that boosts your mitochondria, and calorie restriction. Don't eat after dinner until breakfast the next day. That calorie restriction can achieve intermittent fasting can help you get your energy. All right. So it turns out there's just might be an easier and more practical way to support mitochondrial health. PQQ, coenzyme Q10. All right. And PQQ is a vitamin-like essential micronutrient with powerful antioxidant capacities. It not only assists the mitochondria in creating bioenergy, but it protects them from destructive oxidative stress. Remember, when you exercise, it's great for you, but it also is prematurely aging you because it's creating oxidative stress. So what you have to do is you have to compensate. The compensation is by taking vitamin C and vitamin E, coenzyme Q10, PQQ. You are trapping the free radicals that are caused by the oxidative stress. So you get the benefit of exercising and you don't get the destructive capacity of oxidative stress. That means your cells are going to live longer. In addition to protecting mitochondria from oxidative damage caused by free radicals, PQQ actually promotes mitochondrial biogenesis. This means that the nutrient is capable of helping the body regenerate fresh mitochondria, thereby reversing cellular aging and theoretically prolonging your life. All right? It also protects your memory and cognition while helping you to shield the brain against the effects of environmental toxins like mercury. In fact, PQQ has been shown to reverse cognitive impairment caused by oxidative stress in a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial published in Functional Foods and Health and Disease. 20 milligrams a day of PQQ improved cognition in middle-aged and elderly patients, as well as increasing vigor and reducing fatigue, tension, anxiety, depression, and confusion. And coenzyme Q10 is another vitamin-like enzyme that helps to convert fuel into energy. And it's just one of the best nutrients you can take into your body. So that's our classroom on the air for today. That's the latest on health and healing. Go to GaryNull.com. Look at all the new articles that I posted, all the different commentaries, essays, investigative reports, all the good information, recipes. All right, it's there for you. We're going to take a break because we have some phenomenally interesting stuff coming right at you in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Are you tired of closed-minded programming? Well, look no further than PRN.Live, the home for progressive voices.